All right. I don't know if you can see that or not. I know you can see my Pit Boss Lexington. Let me get my light. Check this out. Look at that. That right there is a rack of pork. We smoked it at 250 degrees, just over 2 hours. Internal temps 140. We're going to let it rest for 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll come back out and do a taste test. All right, so I've got this rack of pork. It's just under 5 pounds. By the time I trim this little piece on, let's just call it 4.5 pounds. There's a little bit of fat I need to trim off and little flapper stuff going on over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down the bone at this line right here and cut that little piece off. So we're going to go right here and just go straight across, and then I'm going to cut this off of the bone. Don't worry, that won't go to waste. I'm going to roll that up and cook it too. So now all I want to do is kind of cut in between here and clean up these bones. Just take the fat, any skin, and cut it out. This is going to take me a few minutes. I won't make you watch. So anyway, I'll be back as soon as I get these bones cleaned up. All right, just like that. You know, just get a sharp little paring knife or whatever and try to clean the bones off best you can. Do you have to? No. But the presentation will look pretty cool if you have guests over. So right now, I'm going to tie in between each one of these bones. Okay, there you go. See how those are wrapped up? That's going to sit like this when it's smoking. I'm going to smoke this in the Pit Boss Lexington 500. It's probably going to take a couple of hours at 250 degrees, but before we do, I'm going to just use this Killer Hogs Texas brisket rub. I really like this. It's a salt, pepper, garlic, onion, and spices. I'm just going to do that for the initial rub because I'm going to use some of this Blues Hog Raspberry Chipotle barbecue sauce on it at the end. So I'm going to use some Blues Hog from a hog. All right, let me get this seasoned up. I'll let it rest for 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll get it out to the Lexington. All right, there we go. In a few minutes, I'll see you out at the Lexington 500. Hey, I got the Pit Boss up to 250 degrees down there. Get this rack on there. Stick it right there in the middle. I do have a meat stick, and there's that little piece I cut off. I'm going to let that smoke up in here. I got it tied up and seasoned. So, we'll let the meat stick tell me when this hits about 135 to 140, then I'll sauce it up and let it finish. It has been 2 hours and we're still rolling at 250 on this little Pit Boss. That's why I love this thing so much. All right, look at that. We're at 135, and for the next 10 degrees, I'm going to come out and put some of this Blues Hog Raspberry Chipotle on here. We're just going to glaze it up. And maybe every 10 minutes or so until this is ready. All right. We flip this around, get the other side, and even put it on the bones. Okay, I closed the lid. My meat stick was going off because my ambient temp got too low. It got down to, we're at 220 right now. It's cold outside. Anyway, I'll glaze that a couple more times, and we'll come back when it's ready. All right, the meat stick is telling me this is ready. Hitting at a little over 140. And I'm gonna go let this rest for about 15-20 minutes. Look at that. And yeah, we'll cut into it and do a taste test. All right, we've been waiting 15 minutes. Man, that looks good. All right, there's the meat stick. Let me take that out of there. And I might as well just cut right down here. I still have the string in there. I probably should take it out. Let's take that one right there. All right, let's see how we did. Oh yeah, look at that. See how juicy that is? All right, let's go do a taste test of that baby. All right, how about that? Check that out. All right, this one fell over. It's laying down in some of the juice. Look at that, it's just dripping. All right, so a pork rack, you know, you don't have to cut the bone like that, but it sure is a little impressive, isn't it? And hey, you know, expensive as prime rib is these days, and if you're gonna serve that for Christmas or you want to and you can't really afford it, look for a pork rack. I think your guests or your family will enjoy it. This one has raspberry chipotle. Let's give it a taste. Oh wow. That is tender and juicy, and that Blues Hog raspberry chipotle barbecue sauce, that is really, really good. If you get a chance, grab you a bottle of that, put it on some pork. So good. All right, guys, thanks for checking this out. Rack of pork, cut the bones. You don't have to, like I said, but boy, it sure looks good. I hope you have a great day.